Sonic Adventure. You know it, I know it, we all know it. And although they pretend not to a lot of the time, Sega knows it too. This game marked a huge milestone in Sonic's history, one that I would argue far surpassed the creator's expectations at the time. This 20+ year old game is still not only being talked about, but debated over to this day. That has got to count for something. The first Sonic Adventure has been routinely referred to as the shining example for how Sonic should control in a 3D space. Responsive movement, gradual acceleration, and a manageable top speed, all whilst allowing for a variety of maneuvers and set pieces to be built around for platforming challenges. All of that being topped off by the momentum physics which allowed speed to synergize with platforming elements for a uniform experience. As the years have gone on, there has been an ever-growing desire amongst fans to see a new take on the adventure design philosophy for a more modern audience. Despite clear interest in receiving such a product though, Sega has yet to return to the formula. In fact, their unwillingness to approach the subject could even be seen as disdain towards the adventure games, which is curious as they are both amongst the most highly rated Sonic games of all time. The last adventure game was Sonic Adventure 2, which itself is over 20 years old now. You would think any company would have to be insane to have not followed up on an acclaimed formula for over 2 decades, and you would be right. But as I'm sure most of you are just bursting to point out, Sonic Adventure 2 may be the latest adventure in name, but not in practice. While still debated, I am of the mind that Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog are both still clearly derivatives of the core Sonic Adventure design, just placing more emphasis in certain aspects of it as Sega experimented with the series. But the largest continuation of the adventure formula by far was their most ambitious game yet, Sonic 06. It had it all: a deep and dramatic story, multiple playable characters, upgrades to characters, fully 3D explorative levels, fantastic music, extra modes, high budget cutscenes. Sonic 06 was supposed to advance the adventure formula and the series at large. Unfortunately, we all know how that story goes. Sonic 06's failure only managed to instill a terminal fear of the adventure elements into Sega. They have adamantly been against using anything adventure related ever since. In recent years, we have seen the smallest of nods towards adventure iconography by Sega, but it is still nothing substantial. Moreover, most of the time we have seen adventure-themed content, it has been to sucker fans into things they may have otherwise paid little attention to, with Sonic Forces' use of chaos being one of the most egregious examples of that. For a sizable amount of adventure fans, the idea that we may one day get an adventure game again has helped keep them involved with the Sonic series. I know that was my line of thought from Unleashed till Lost World, but it gets to a point where hope alone is not enough and eventually people will leave. This is likely why every now and then Sega teases something adventure related, only not to deliver. The fact that Sonic Generations did not feature a third adventure-esque Sonic was something that stuck out to me like an insult. Whatever the reason for not doing it, it will never be good enough. Of course, I am aware of the rather cynical theory that Sega is merely holding on to an adventure game as their last resort, one where they will only make it if the series reaches its lowest low and is on the verge of cancellation. You could see why Sega may have elected to reserve Adventure for such a case, its known popularity acting as some kind of insurance. Some fans even champion this idea, as they are worried that a Sonic Adventure game has so many expectations Sega could never possibly live up to all of them, and a bad adventure title would end Sonic then and there. I have a few criticisms on this line of thought. Firstly, being that Sega is a giant company with all sorts of business avenues and likely hidden dealings keeping them afloat. The idea that regular people would encourage and defend the practice of withholding beloved gameplay for emergencies only is ludicrous. The only stake you would have would be getting more Sonic games, which would happen whether Sega was still in charge or not, as the brand would definitely find a new owner. Also, the lack of confidence such a decision exudes is immense. Imagine sitting on what you perceive to be a golden idea out of fear, and instead routinely releasing content that is not comparable to your emergency plan. At that point, you're just trying to see how long you can go before you burn out, rather than pushing your own limits. If Sega truly believes public opinion for an adventure-style game is high, they should go ahead and do it. Instead of worrying whether or not it will be a dud, they should try their utmost to make it the best they can. I know this echoes the history of Sonic 06, but they botched it with poor management and bad decisions during development. They should try once more in earnest, and if it doesn't do well, they can look inwards and accept that a lot of the things they took for granted just are not so anymore. They would need to improve or go home. A money-focused company may be afraid of such a thing, but the fans certainly should not be. That would be what's best for the series overall, as whether it succeeds or not, the direction forward would be clear. Yet as I mentioned before, people instead encourage the half-hearted attitude we see today. Another thing to consider is if an adventure game under such dire conditions were to be made, would it even be good anyway? By such a time, there would likely be none of the adventure development team left, and if Sonic Origins has been anything to go by, Sega clearly struggles at relearning how to make games the way they used to. Something to note is how the current head of Sonic Team, Iizuka, has stated numerous times that he would be willing or is considering making another adventure-styled game. This has even occurred recently during the push for Sonic Frontiers marketing, and it has gotten some fans excited. I would advise not looking into these words too much. After all, nothing has come of it every other time, and it technically is true so long as Sega still has that adventure last resort plan. Recently, there was a Game Informer interview with Iizuka where he was asked what he believed was the best Sonic game, to which he said Sonic Adventure 2. Whilst this still falls into the cautioning I just gave, it does make me wonder, is Iizuka, in a way, being pressed into certain decisions he is otherwise against by his higher-ups for the series? There have been countless fan movements demanding reform that always use Iizuka as the target for their woes, and he is the head of Sonic Team, so I understand that. But if he also agrees with such statements, then it must really suck for him receiving fire from all sides. In that same interview, he confirmed the most requested feature is Chow Garden though, so it's hard to know for sure. Alas, this is the current state of affairs when it comes to the topic of future adventure titles. I would love to see more, but it is unclear if Sega even knows how to make them anymore. What do you think about all this? Are you glad Sega keeps it as a contingency plan, or perhaps you never want to see adventure again? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end, it really helps out the channel. If you enjoyed this discussion and want to see more, you can like the video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share this video with your friends to help the discussion grow. I hope you have a great day and to see you next time. This is the Mighty Emperor, signing off.